it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, I want to show you a really cool shadowing technique. Now we're going to change it up and take it one step further today, but you can also do this sort of in just a really nice, easy fashion, or you can do what I'm doing today and we're going to take it to the next level. I'm going to be using this tree plate today to create a Christmas card, except for we are not using Christmas colors at all. Now, before you think, I don't have a cover plate, I can't do this technique, the answer is actually yes, you can. You can do this with any die cut. You can do this with any punch as well. And it could be like a circle. It could just be a circle punch that you punch out, or a circle die. It could be a lone Christmas tree, singular Christmas tree. It could be a Christmas bauble. It could be anything. It doesn't really matter. It could be just a piece of foliage. It could be a rose die, a flower die, lots of different things. But for this one, I'm going to use this gorgeous tree plate. Now, I have cut this out twice. One of them I'm going to cut. Now, I actually do something here that before I go ahead and show you how to do it, I'm making this harder on myself. I don't need to cut all three of these, and I will realize in just a second that I can cut these in strips because I want each one of these trees to have a different colored shadow. And so I thought I was going to do that. Right now I'm having a wee think, but actually you can keep them all together. So I have already cut the top three trees up. That doesn't matter. I'm still going to use them. We can still put them back together and make it work. But for this one, I'm going to use three colors. I have the Lucky Clover, I have Ocean Mist, and Innocent Pink. So these are going to be my Christmassy colors today, if you like. Any inks at all. You could even use some alcohol markers, you could use watercolor markers, you can use coloring pencils, you can use ink put onto like a non-porous surface and use it like watercolors. Anything works here. It doesn't matter the method of how you color these in. You can make it work. I am going to use, as I said, the three different colors. I'm starting off with Lucky Clover. Now, although I said they're going to be all different colors, there's going to be these three colors throughout the trees. As I said, if you wanted to, you could do this in all one color, and then you wouldn't even have to cut these apart at all. You could just shift the entire second die cut behind them over to the left or the right or whatever you decide. Now, at the moment, you might think, gosh, your coloring is, tidy today, Natasha. Well, it doesn't matter because this is all going to be hidden. I promise you, this is going to look very sleek and colorful soon. All I need to do, because I am going to have a shadow that will essentially be to the left of the trees, so I'm just coloring in the left-hand side and the lower portion of the tree in the color. That's all that's going to be seen. The right-hand side is going to be shifted along so that you can't see it at all, so there's no point adding color there. By all means, you can if you want to, but for me, I need to sort of put the next color there, if that makes sense, to the left-hand side, so I don't want the other color mixing it up. So that you'll see how this all works very soon. This is the beautiful from Stamp Timber, the Gina K and Simon Says stamp collaboration, and I think this might be sold out. It was very popular, but basically I'm going to use it for the sentiment, that gorgeous big Merry Christmas sentiment. I'm stamping it out a few times because if I'm going to be stamping it once and die cutting, I may as well do a few of them and pop them in the back of the packaging so that next time it will probably make my life easier. I decided to stamp some and die cut them in the blue color as well because I thought I might use that one. Now you can see that the front panel I have here is just a fraction smaller than my card base at this point. So let's get to putting this together. It's very, very simple. All I'm doing is adding in some glue behind. Now I'm actually going to do the big long strips first because these are the easiest ones. And all I'm doing is putting this down so that you can see the shadow to the left, which means shifting the panel behind to the right a little bit. Now, doesn't that just cover up all that mess and make it look altogether pretty? You may need to do what I'm doing here, which is just cutting off that extra little bit at the end. That will be some overhang. But from this, we're going to keep doing this, the lower one here, and they should, well, because we cut from the same panel, they should actually match up behind here really well. And in theory, if you wanted to, you probably don't need to cut any apart. But, you know, we live and we learn by practicing the techniques. And this way worked out just fine and made it a bit more comfortable with my colouring as well. So you can do it any which way you like. Sometimes you have to go the long way to learn a lesson, and sometimes it just happens. But that's okay. With this one, I'm trimming a little bit off the bottom. Remember I said this cuts out a panel. The actual cover plate die cuts out a panel that is 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. And of course, I have trimmed it down a little bit because I want there to be a matting layer when we pop it down on our card base. Now, these single ones here, again, I actually find the smaller ones almost a little bit easier to work with. I'm just using some of the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. That's what's inside my glue, and that's what gives me a minute to move these around. It doesn't stick too soon so that I can't get the exact same amount of shadow, if that makes sense, as the rest of the trees that I've got. Again, if you just had one panel or if you were just doing one focal point, then by all means it wouldn't be tricky at all. Trimming up anything behind it before the glue dries perfectly, and then that way everything is nice and secure and in place. Now it's starting to come together. Of course, we want to do some beautiful little finishing touches. Now what you could do, I mean, you could make this into a shaker card at this point if you added some acetate. Even in between those layers you could add acetate, or you could pop some behind of it now, and that would be fun too. You could also add like some silver behind everything, and that would make the rest of the trees silver, and you would still have the colourful shadow. I am going to stick with the plain and beautiful white for this one. And I do want a matting layer, as I mentioned before, so I use that same ocean mist to create it. And then I'm going to cut out the inside because I don't want there to be any colour showing. Now, what I could have done is I could have masked this off when I was inking up this panel so that it would be all white on the inside, and that would save me having to cut it. But honestly, they're both about the same amount of effort and energy, and I would have to use masking paper, whereas for this one, I just had to trim it with my scissors. So this is a nice, easy way. For me, I use some glue, pop it on, and then we've got a nice matting layer there without it showing through on the trees. Now, to give this some dimension and also a natural shadow. So that is another fun part of this one, where the trees are going to be a little bit darker as well, just on that one side, and that natural shadow that this creates, that the height creates. And you can see this is starting to come together. I really like this look. Given how sort of easy and simple this is to put together, it was fun. But when I put the sentiment on, I'm thinking, it's not working. It's covering too much. It's too big. Not quite right, even though I absolutely love it, and that's okay. It's just not for this card. So I'm going to resort back to my favorite little Christmas and holiday sentiments for the year. This gorgeous little stamp set is going to have all of the little holiday greetings that I think I'm going to need. So this one is going to sneak in between the trees. I didn't plan this at all to go this way. As I said, I had thought I was going to use that larger Merry Christmas, and there's a couple of different spots that I could have fit this in, but this one is actually going to be perfect. I'm going to stamp it out in the Ocean Mist. As I said, not particularly traditional Christmas colours, but who's to say that we can't have a play around and create some fun looks. Now, of course, this one doesn't have to be Christmas. If you used a cover plate that wasn't trees or Christmas trees, then you could make this another occasion for sure. I have some cute little star embellishments, and it just felt right that I should pop these at the top of the tree. Now, I did play around with, like, should I do a pattern? Should I just do 3 on an angle? Should I just do a couple of random ones? but actually I think they look really cute. And as you know, if you've watched my channel, I like to have an element on the card that sort of catches your eye or shines, or just creates a little bit of movement in the card. And for me, it's going to be these little stars. When you move the card or the recipient opens it, it gets that natural wee shine. Look at this, it's absolutely gorgeous. So that is going to take care of that element for me, and that is going to be this card finished for today. I absolutely love how this one came out, and I hope you give this drop shadow technique a go. Thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time.